So I've put the PET onto its side and I want to get to this transformer. I'm doing that because I'm still waiting for some parts to arrive, basically a replacement fuse holder and one or two other tools. But I don't need to wait to just get access to this fuse holder so I can remove it. To do that, I need to get the transformer out of the way. And the transformer is bolted in from the bottom of the case. It uses imperial nuts. As is typical, I can't find an imperial spanner that's exactly the correct size. I can find a 7mm spanner that I've got that is slightly too large, but it will still turn them. There's not actually a great deal of torque on these bolts, so I think it's okay just to use this, just to loosen these off and eventually tighten them back up once I'm done. So I just loosen them off a little bit. I don't want to pull them out all the way because that transformer weighs a heck of a lot, and given the current orientation, if I loosen them all and let the transformer fall out, it would no doubt break something. So the fuse holder is actually behind a metal shield here, and there doesn't appear to be any way to get access to that shield without first removing the transformer. So let's just unplug, get a few of these connectors out of the way. I'll leave the capacitor as it is. I think I just need to see what's going on there first, so I'm just undoing the nuts from the back. There's not actually a great deal of thread on these nuts. You think they would have given people a little bit more leeway, but it's starting to come loose now. And yeah. There's the fuse holder in the back there. So I've put the PET back in its normal orientation and I've wedged the lid open. Let's just see what's behind this. Okay, so there's an earth strap to the case. Also goes to the smoothing capacitor as well. Earth strap also continues to the mains cable. So I'll have to check that because there might be some rust behind that. We need to check there's a continuous earth. The last thing I want is for the case to become live with no way of blowing the fuse. This is, don't often see these in the UK. In fact, this is probably the first one I've ever seen. This is just a way of connecting the input lead from the transformer to the UK neutral connection. And the live connection is going into the power switch and then coming back off the power switch to the fuse holder, and then from the fuse holder to the other input lead of the transformer. So fairly simple to resolve. The fuse holder is held in by quite a large nut, so I think it looks like I just have to twist this panel to get it out. So let me have a look at that. Yeah, you can just see actually this protective panel here is just secured to the base of the case by this nut down here. So I imagine once I remove that nut, it should just pop out of the case and I can get to work. So in the process of trying to figure out how I could get that shield from the back of the transformer so I could access the fuse holder, I realised that actually it would just be a whole lot easier if I just took the main board out. So that's what I did, and I'm sorry I didn't film that, but it really is pretty simple. There's a couple of Phillips head screws. I think there was There's probably one there, one here. I think there was a larger Phillips head screw here, which is earthed to the chassis, and the other ones were just plastic, I don't know what you call them, the little plastic things that give you a bit of height and hold the board above the chassis. Just squeeze them with a pair of pliers and the board just comes right off. I'm actually glad I did take the board out, because I've noticed a few things that weren't immediately evident from looking at it when it was still in the computer. So the first thing I noticed is the general poor condition of this edge connector, which is memory expansion. It doesn't really matter on this side because there's nothing conductive on that side. All the important stuff is down here, and you can see straight away that there's some horrible gunk down there. I've got no idea what it is. Maybe a cup of tea's been spilt onto it, God knows. But yeah, it could be conductive, so I'll clean that off to avoid any shorts. I also noticed that there's this kind of strange patterning under here, which well, I guess it probably still works, but I don't know what it is, some sort of corrosion, maybe water slowly working its way in and lifting the traces from the PCB. I don't know. You can see a little bit of silver there where this is lifted up. So not quite sure what that is, but the other connectors generally look as though they're in good condition. Don't think anything really needs doing to them. The other side is a different matter again, but I think a little bit of a clean there. This one's got some slight damage on it, but I don't think I'll be using that one much anyway, so I don't think that's going to be a problem. Otherwise, to my mind, to my eyes, the board looks like it's in good condition. Of course, there's no guarantee that any of these circuits are going to work. The second thing I noticed when I looked a little bit more closely at the board was this regulator here, and there's some debris down there and it looks like metal swarf. So I'm glad I didn't connect power to the board before I had a look at it. So that could have been quite expensive. It might be nothing, it might be just be a non-conductive gunk, but I'll clean it out anyway. I'll clean the whole board before I do anything. I should really use a socket for this, but I don't have small sockets. Go. And that's that out of the way. Just to make life easier for myself, I'll remove this mains cable. It's held in place by a strain relief, and you can just see on the side, that's the section that moves, and that's the section I need to push that way to get the cable out. So I've got these adjustable pliers here, which I've used for a million things. Just pop them in, compress, and there we go. Easy as that. There we go. we go. Some people may say it's overkill to remove that earth strap, but if you look at the amount of rust around where that point is, that's not going to make great electrical contact, which means that the case may stay live, the fuse wouldn't blow, and you would be at serious risk of harm. So I will clean that up. Get the iron in. And need to disconnect it from the power switch too. There we go. Okay, I finally found the spanner that fits. 11/16 of an inch for this one. Here we go. The case isn't resting on the bonnet prop at the moment, it's kind of resting on the back of the monitor, and the hinge is taking a little bit of the weight, but I've got something behind it to help. And this should now, in theory,